If you're a fan of Sherlock Holmes, or even if you're not, you've probably seen one adaptation or another of the classic The Hound of the Baskervilles. That title is recognized most the world over. An enormous hound, a centuries-old legend, an escaped convict, and mysterious characters, all set against the unsettling backdrop of Dartmoor with the great Grimpen Mire of the moors, the story has been unsettling for viewers and readers for more than a century. In 1939 saw Basil Rathbone stepping into the deerstalker cap as the great detective in one of the classic adaptations, in what would be the first of a legendary 14 portrayals and one by which most others would be held up to, with Nigel Bruce as the faithful chronicler of Dr. Watson. Although a Sherlock Holmes story, Basil Rathbone and Nigel Bruce did not receive top billing, but rather second and fourth respectively, with the honor of star billing going to Richard Green, who would gain fame in the 1950s as Robin Hood in The Adventures of Robin Hood. Although in 1939, Green was already an established star and 20th Century Fox wanted a well-known lead to help ensure a hit. An interesting note, the butler in the original novel was named Barrymore, which they changed in this adaptation to Berryman. The renowned acting family of Barrymore, which included Lionel Barrymore, were still active, and the studio wanted to avoid any potential conflict. This version of the story was out of circulation for many years, due in part to another version made in 1959, filmed in color with Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee. But this version was finally restored and re-released in 1975 with much fanfare by Film Specialties, and in its full 80-minute version, including the controversial ending line uttered by Holmes, cut by the censors in the original release,
Watson, the needle.
referring to Holmes' cocaine habit. Around the 51-minute mark is a hidden little treasure, especially for those who like music, as they play a sneak preview of a coming song, over 30 years before the song was written. Holmes, disguised as a peddler, demonstrates a zither for Watson,
Sir, zither? Zither?
and proceeds to pick out the first 4 notes of what would become Stairway to Heaven. Rather Basil Rathbone picked the notes, the composer for the film, the director, or the gaffer's cousin, I don't know, but whoever did predicted a rock classic. Lionel Atwell portrayed Dr. James Mortimer, and would be better known later in the series as Professor Moriarty. Fox would only make one more Holmes film, The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, released that same year before halting production on the series, believing that the master detective had no place in the current events of World War II. But Universal Studios, on the other hand, disagreed. But that's another thing. And they just don't make them like they used to. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and comment down below. And don't forget to come back for more on This Was Their Life.